Hello everyone! Welcome back. My name is Ingrid Meller and I'm one of our art instructors at Culture for One. And in today's art video, we are going to be taking a little bit of a trip with our imagination. So, we've all been stuck inside and we haven't been able to go anywhere new or to any of the places that we love. So today we're going to be doing a project bringing a little bit of that and a little bit of our imaginations to create a place that we love or a place that we wish we could go to. So I'm inviting you all today to pretend that you're going on a trip and imagine a favorite place that you have. It could be somewhere that you've been, it could be somewhere you've seen a picture of and you've always wanted to go. So it could be like the beach, it could be a country you've never been to, it could be somebody's house that you love. It could be your favorite park, your school, anywhere that is a favorite place to you. And I'm going to put a list of some different ideas in the caption below in case you're having trouble thinking of one. So what you're going to be doing with your favorite place is thinking about everything that you see when you're there. So what does the sky look like, or the walls? What does the ground look like? What kind of animals live there, if any? What kind of plants are there? And make a list for yourself on a piece of paper of everything that is in this place. So what you're going to do with that list is turn it into a reality with a project that's called a diorama. So this is mine that I got started that I'm going to show you how to create. So a diorama is basically, as you can see, a model of a place. And sometimes in art museums, dioramas can be like really, really fancy and look really realistic. This one is one that I made with all materials around my house, so it's not as fancy, but it still makes me really, really happy to look at. Some of you might have made one like this in school before, so already kind of know a little bit about it. But if not, that's okay too. So to make your diorama, to get started, all that you need is either a cardboard cereal box, a cardboard shoe box, any kind of box, or just two pieces of cardboard or a board or something that you can put together. So to make mine, this used to be my favorite cereal. And I just took the box and I opened it along the seams so that it made like this shape. And then I decided which side was the ground in my diorama and which side is the sky. And that's the first part that you should do, whatever your favorite place is, because that's the sort of background that it's all going to sit on. So to do mine, I painted my sky a really pretty blue, and then I painted the ground green, like grass. So I'm thinking a lot of all the places outdoors that I miss right now. But if you don't have paint, whatever you have can work for you. So if you have markers, great. Crayons, if you have construction paper, like let's say you had a piece of blue construction paper, imagine this is that. You could just take it and glue it or tape it here and create the colors that way. Or if you had a piece of computer paper, you could just color and draw on that and tape it on. So there's lots of different ways to do this. However works for you with the materials that you have, you can do. So after you have your sky and your ground, then you're sort of getting to the fun part. So looking back at your list, if you made one in the beginning of what lives and exists in your favorite space. So my favorite space is a park or a garden. And I already have the grass. I put in some flowers too to start with. But one of the other things that I would see in my space is the sun. So using another piece of cardboard from a cereal box, I cut out a sun. If you did the project with me last week, you already know how to make your own sun. And if you didn't, you can go back to that video and see how that's done. You also could do the moon or the stars, any of the things that we already did that we're building on. So I painted my sun just with some acrylic paint. If you had like craft paint or tempera paint, that would work too. And then I used a little bit of this glitter glue on it, but you absolutely do not need that. You can use whatever you have. So to put my sun in my sky, I'm just going to use some Elmer's glue. If you have any kind of tape, any kind of glue at home, whatever you have, that will work too. Even if you have like a stapler, whatever works that you're allowed to use. So I'm going to turn the computer so you can see what I'm adding to my diorama project now. So I'm going to put my sun in the sky. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on there. So glued on. Hopefully it'll stay because I did just make the sun. And then I'm thinking maybe my sky would have some clouds too. So if I wanted to make the clouds in the sky, I'll show you two different ways you can do that with materials you might have in your house. So if you had cotton balls, that is a great thing to make clouds with. These are like little cotton face pads. So I can just put a little bit of glue where I want this cloud to go in my sky, and then stick it on there. If I had cotton balls, I would just stick like a few in place. You also could take a piece of white paper and make a cloud shape and then glue that on. You could draw your cloud on. There's a million ways you can do it. Another way that I will show you, so I did one cloud like this. The cloud's all over me now. If you had like some yarn or string, that can be a really pretty cloud too. Or an old shoelace or something. If you don't need it anymore, that could be a cloud. So I hope that those of you that are following along every week as we make projects out of things that we have around the house, I hope it gets a little easier for you to think about how creative you can be with whatever you have around you. You know, even for me, I'm used to being able to use more art materials in classes, but it's helping me think of different ways to be creative at home. So with string, I usually would like twirl, make a little knot to start. And then I'm just going to put where I want the string to go. So I'll make like a swirly cloud shape. You'll have it meet with my other cloud. And then I'm just putting the string where I put the glue. And I would let this dry for at least like 20 minutes if I weren't doing the video, but I am probably going to move it a little bit sooner than I would tell you to, just so I can show you. So you can make whatever shape you want with your cloud. If you don't want clouds, that's okay. If you want to put a star, you can put a plane in the sky. If your diorama is indoors, you can make it whatever the wall would have on it, so maybe like some pictures hanging. Okay. So now I have two different types of clouds and a sun in my sky. And you can see on the ground I already took just a little bit of paint and made like flowers. Whatever's on your ground, you could put that there. So maybe you have a beach and you would paint some waves in. Maybe you have a ground from a place that's inside, you'd put whatever's there. So now you can see I have pretty good scene going for my diorama. And the next part would be to think about what else might be there. So if I were doing a park like this, I might also put a tree in it. So this tree I made also out of a cardboard cereal box. And I just I drew a tree shape on the cardboard and then I cut it out, painted it on this part I did with marker, so you can see that works really well too. So then your tree, if you're doing something 3D like this, it's good to have like a part that folds that can help you stick it on the bottom. So your tree could go anywhere you want it to. So if I wanted to go against the sky and the clouds, like here I could. I think it would be interesting for my tree to be like up here somewhere. So I'm going to glue that on, and we will hope that it stays up. Okay. So here's my tree, and then there's a million other things I could put in my park if I wanted to. If you followed along in the roses video that we did before, I think that could be a cool thing that would go in your diorama if it makes sense for it. So I'm going to take my roses that I made. They're kind of big for the field, but that's okay. It could be magical. And they're going to go just in here like this. So now I've got flowers and trees. And then if I wanted to add more things, I could do, I don't know, it could be a butterfly or birds, whatever lives there. If you have some things around the house that could be really cool in it, like if you followed along my first video, I have some shells and things that I collected at the beach. So maybe there's like a rock in my field. Maybe there's a few rocks that are in there. Maybe a shell. So I'm starting to build a little world with this that I could imagine going into. If you have like materials from nature around your house, like sometimes I dry flowers, or if you have a yard and you can get them out, that would work too. So I could put a real flower in there if I wanted. I could glue it in. A dried marigold, that can go in there. So now I've got like a lot of different kinds of materials. And then once you're done creating your diorama and you think it looks like the place that you want it to, and it makes you happy to look at, it reminds you of that, it's something that you can also use to play with, to play imaginary games with. So maybe you have toys or dolls that could live in your little world. So I have this little dog that maybe he's in the park. And so now you can see the finished diorama. So I've created this whole world that maybe I can't travel to right now, but it's still in my imagination and my heart that I can create at home and look at and think about whenever I miss it. So I hope that you all enjoy the diorama today and that you found your creativity and were able to travel a little bit in your imaginations. And I will look forward to seeing you all next week.